Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. Today we are doing a very special unboxing video of this right here, this big one. This is going to be a blind unboxing of my very first submission to EGS. That stands for Expert Grading Service. And if you want to see what books I sent in, what grades I got and how they did, I'm going to do a review on the service, the company, and the product. Come on back after the short video intro. See you soon. Okay, we are back. Comic Sniper here along with my trusty sidekick, Mark III, my lovable flying Iron Man. Say hello as we present to you a very special blind unboxing for EGS. That is a new company. They stand for Expert Grading Service. This is my very first submission to them, so I have no prior experience. So I'm excited to see, of course, how the comics did as far as grading, and of course the service that they provide. So for those of you who are very impatient, we're just going to go over a little bit of information. We'll get right into opening the box so that you guys can, for those of you who just want to see the books and the grades, we're going to get right to that. You won't have to wait too long. And then of course afterwards I'm going to kind of take my time a little bit and evaluate the company, the product and service that they provide, and give you my overall experience and grading basically of their company and how they did. All right, so sit back. Once again, Expert Grading Service, the owner is Tony Trombetta, and you can find them at egscomicsgrading.com. And I have tried all the companies, 4 of them now in total, including CGC, PGX, CBCS, and now EGS. The best way to review and have opinion on the products that you are evaluating is you should have first-hand experience. For those of you who are wondering, I am not sponsored by EGS. I don't have any sponsors to my channel. This is my own doing. This comes out of my own pocket, so I have not been paid by anybody or gotten any special deals. Okay, just wanted to get that out of the way. So on with the show. It came back crushed here on the one side, on the one corner. The other corners seem to be okay. So I hope that everything is still okay inside, but we will find out together. So I sent out 3 books, and only one of them is signature, has a signature on it. 2 of them are just regular grading. What I expect from these as far as grading, I expect in and around 9/8 for all of them. Okay, I'm going to be very bold and say that. I'll let the chips fall where they may. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. That's fine. But what I expect out of them, there's nothing. I didn't try to throw them a curveball or anything like that. So here we go. All right. Wow. 9.2.
A deer! A female deer.
All right. Well, I must say that I'm disappointed in my grading. This is an awesome Adam Hughes cover. This is a blue label. 9.2. So we're just gonna go through the grades, and then afterwards we'll talk about the product and stuff. Okay. So the next one, JSA Classified, 9.8. That one got a 9.8. All right. Another Adam Hughes cover. This one is the signature, and what I got out of that is a 9.8. Awesome. All right. Well, so I got 2 out of 3, and this is, of course, my Christopher Lloyd signed Back to the Future, and as you can see, it says, sorry, it says publishing date, and then signed by, if I can get that there, Christopher Lloyd. All right. So 2 out of 3. I got the 9.8, and I got a 9.2 for the Catwoman number 51. If anything, I knew this was gonna come back the lowest. I was thinking probably a 9.6, but we will take a look at the grader's notes for all of these. We'll start with the Back to the Future number 1, the grader's notes that he provided. So there is, it says here, spine tick, front cover under light, okay, and then small abrasion, back cover under light. So there's a couple of flaws, and that's why I got a 9.8 and not a 10.0. Okay, that is good. And then for the JSA classified, we got a small scuff, bottom left corner, small scuff bottom, and then scratch back cover top right. He's very observant. All right, and very detailed. I myself didn't see, I don't remember the scratch part, but I'll have to take a closer look and see what he found. So that's that one. And then we have more, of course, on the Catwoman. That would be expected because he saw 9.2 out of that. And what he found was a spine tick, breaks color, upper left front cover. Cover spelled wrong. Corner scuff bottom right front cover, and then spine tick back cover upper right, also corner scuff, both break color. As far as full disclosure, that's what it is. And it's kind of cool that there's a certificate of authenticity. It's not and as I said before, I'm a big proponent of actually putting the grades on the actual, let's say back here on the label myself, so that we don't have to carry one of these. But of course, having grader's notes already available and with the books. So if I sell these, I would sell it together. I would send off the book and the certificate of authenticity together, so that way the new owner, if whoever they may be, will know exactly how the grades came to be. All right, without having to pay any extra, without having to look it up, that kind of thing. But as I said, it'd be nice that if it was on the label itself. But all in all, not too bad. I thought my grading went south there for a while. But okay, so once again, just to go over the company and EGS, which stands for Expert Grading Service, and the owner, which is Tony Trombetta. And again, you can find them at EGS comicsgrading.com. Let's see if I can. I'm going to pull up the website for you guys here. Read a little bit more about the company, and there's the area here where you can submit your comics. So the pricing for this, it's divided up between modern, silver, gold, which is the two. There's only two prices there. And that turnaround is about 14 business days. I opted for the choice, which is the least expensive. So bang on as far as the turnaround time goes. The Premier is $35 for the modern, and everything else is $40, and that's 7 business days. The Ultimate is $55 for the modern, $70 for the silver, gold, and that's 3 to 5 business days. The Expert, the Signature Series, if it's witnessed, which means they're on site to witness it, it's $8. If it's verified the way I did it, which means whether it's real or fake, that's $15. $10 for any additional signatures. Of course, if you have multiple signatures on a book, that kind of thing. And that turnaround time is about 14 business days. If you want same day, $90 for modern, $100 for the others, 1 to 3 business day max. And then other services, pre-screening, $5. Raw grading, they also offer that for $10. And then your choice raw grading for $20. And that's a 14-day turnaround. So this is their website. I would recommend checking them out first, and that's what I've done. I knew I wanted to review their services anyway, so that I can give you guys a feedback on what I found. On the website, when you order, basically you can fill it out. You hit submit, and the company, they will get it. For those of you who are familiar with the other grading companies, so there's no sign up. which means that the website is strictly just for ordering. And if you want to, see what the grades are online, you can't do that. The rest will be through email and phone call through between you and the grading company. So that's how that works. So you got to cut people some slack a little bit at the very beginning. As long as the product is good, as long as the services are fine, and they promise and they deliver on their promises, the rest of the details usually will grow in time. So accessibility, which means how accessible is the company, the information, that kind of stuff. You can reach them by email or by phone. Each time that I spoke to Tony or got any information or needed information, my thoughts are he is very friendly, very courteous, professional, and knowledgeable. There was no time that he ever talked down to me like he knew more than I did. Okay, there was stuff that I didn't know. I don't claim to know everything, and he kind of walked me through some of the procedures that he did and his thoughts on the industry, that kind of stuff. Before I sent off these books, I also did a question and answer with him. I told him my intentions, what I wanted to send him some books, and I would review it on my channel. So he knew that going in. Okay, full disclosure, guys, I'm not trying to put anything over you guys. So he did know that. So whether he graded me a little harder on this one, that's for a different discussion. When I spoke to him over the phone, I told him that I wanted to use his service. First off, I asked him, how long has the company been around? They've been around for about 4 months, I believe now. Okay, 4 to 5 months, somewhere around there. And Tony's the president. He is the main grader. He does use additional services. As far as pressing, for those of you who are wondering, he does not do any pressing and cleaning. Not yet, anyways. It could be something for the future. I also asked him, how do I get updates on my books and on the process of things? He does all that by email and or phone call. For the most part, email. Okay, so he emailed me when the books arrived. He let me know that they arrived, and of course they were gonna take several days before he can get to them, and of course the grading, that kind of thing. And then when they were finished graded and shipped off, I was also notified then as well. Another thing that he does is the charge on the grading service and on the signature verification, that kind of thing. That is all done after the products have been graded. There's several different ways you can pay, but the one I did and the one that I thought was really good was PayPal. So he takes PayPal, and for me, that was more convenient, easier, and there was no extra charge, that kind of thing for me. So kudos to that. Kudos to EGS for that. All right. I was also curious about magazine and treasury editions. That's a big no. Okay, for those of you who are wondering. Moving along, I also asked how do they authenticate. There's a database. Apparently the labels are different. It's gold regardless of whether it is authenticated or witnessed. It stays gold, and I like that. CBCS does red for authentication. If it's a real signature, it's a real signature. You can put that on the label. It's witnessed, or if you can say authenticated. If it's deemed that it is a legitimate signature, stand behind it. Don't call it out for anything less than that. Give it a full thing, right? That's my thought. Anyway, so kudos, full points for EGS for that. Good one. As far as signatures on the inside pages, they will authenticate it as well. They'll make a note of it on the label. I also asked, what about if they find forgery? What they'll do is they will contact you and let you know what they found. If you do decide that you don't want it graded, they will send that book back to you. Or if you want it graded, they will grade it in the blue label. Okay, but they will note on there that there's writing on the cover or on the inside page. If you're familiar with things like CGC's green label, they don't do that. He will grade it like the writing on the cover affects the grade. So be it. And that's the way it should be. And oh yeah, and the nice thing about it is all the bags and boards that I sent in the comics with, and including all of the all of the top loader, because I wanted to protect these books shipping it to EGS. He returned it. So you know what? I spent money on these things. I could use them. CGC, CBCS, PGX does not do that. At least in my experience, they don't return my bags and boards back to me. So they keep it or they destroy it. Again, for those of us who are not made out of money, very nice touch. I appreciate the fact that I got these back. Thank you very much. Maybe not so much the bag and board, but definitely the top loader, because then I could reuse the top loaders for other books that I don't, that I just want to have in my collection that I don't need to get graded, right? Keep it raw. If a book is not a 10.0, and I've talked about this before in my other videos, that means there's a flaw in it. Now, if you have like a 2.0 or 4.0, that kind of stuff, there's obvious grade defects on the books. It's these guys, the 9.8s, that I find I see a lot of videos, and I've done this myself, where we see a 9.8, we say, great, I love the 9.8, great. But then in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, why isn't it a 10.0? Like, if I examine the book and I can't find anything, right? But the grading company sure did. What did they find? And a lot of times, I see people kind of guessing. It's like, oh, they think the 9.8 is pretty much a 10.0 in most people's book. When they see a 9.8, it's like, oh, great, I love it. That's, I'll take it, right? That's what I expected. That's the highest grade they ever expect to ever see on any books. Full disclosure, I have gotten 9.9 once in my life. I don't have that book anymore. I sold it. I was offered a ridiculous amount of money for it. I was like, have it. So it was from CBCS. So if those of you who are saying that CBCS grades harsher, they were the only company that ever gave me a 9.9. The grading companies CBCS and CGC, not so much. And I know PGX doesn't include the graders notes, not yet. I know there's you can pay for it, that kind of thing now, but they didn't before. And trying to get graders notes is a little harder. CGC and CBCS does not really put anything on for graders notes if you have a 9.8, 9.6, and even I've seen down to 9.4 with nothing in the graders notes. Being that we pay the grading companies, they should let us know what they find. Okay, we paid for it. We paid for that service. Okay, there's no reason why they need to keep that from us. Okay, so that's my rant. Okay, as I said, 9.8. Well, as you can see here, and I'm going to inspect the book for these because he says there's a couple of flaws, and sure enough, 2 flaws like this, minor ones, deserve a 9.8. I agree with that. The 9.2 with the flaws that he's described, again, I'm not disputing it. I'm gonna look and inspect it for myself. So whether I'm kind of disappointed in the grade or not, and I'll tell you I am, but that's besides the point. That is not a criticism on the company. It's what they do. Fair is fair. If it's true, it's true. If it's there, then I'm glad it's on here, and then I can take a look. I'll be happy with that. Okay, the grading standard is concerned. Okay, everybody's grading standards, even though they say they use the Overstreet guide as a standard, you got to remember, guys, each company is different. Okay, they're gonna determine and interpret these standards however they wish. Frankly, CGC does not post their grading standards, so you can't question it. All you can do is compare it to another of the same grade. Also, they do check for restoration as well, and if they do find restoration, you will get a green label. They do have a restoration scale, so light restoration, that kind of stuff, and that's going to be reflected. So my thoughts, I'm just going to give you some running thoughts again. The website, I'm used to signing in. I would like to see that in the future. I know it's not there yet. What I would like to see is upon submission of the form, to get an acknowledgement back would be nice, and to maybe send that form back in the PDF form. That way I can print it out in case I haven't already done so. I kind of forgot to print it out. That was my fault. I did forget to print it out, and so I had to ask him to do it. But it would have been nicer if it was an automatic thing. As far as the ordering process is concerned, it struck me as very similar to PGX's form. It reminded me of that. So if you guys are used to filling out the online form for PGX, you'll be very familiar with this one as well. Okay, slab quality. Let's take a look at this. It comes in this plastic, and it is very clear and very nice. Check that out. And it's very fitting too. I mean, it's not completely fitted. Okay, it's not like super tight, but it is tighter. It's better than the ones that CGC gives you. The ones that PGX gives you is kind of like an oversized bag from a comic book bag. And then the one that CBCS gives you is a lot like this. It's got the sticky on it, so you can close it, so you don't have to use the tape. But theirs is very brittle and tears very easily. It's super clear. It is very nice, and it's very form-fitting to the book. But I find that I open it up once or twice, and I usually tear it. The other slabs, you basically have to ruin the slab to get at the book. But this one, it has these little slots here and all on three sides, so that if you wanted to, you can peel off the security seal. That will break the seal, but you can reuse the slab because it has hinges on the top here. See, so you can. And I believe the label is part of the book, so you would have the book with the label and the grade still intact, so you can keep it sealed. And then you can put a different book inside if you wish to reuse the slab for a presentation of a different book, that kind of thing. And then put your own, I guess you can put your own label on it. So that's what this is about. Okay. For those of you who freak out about Newton rings, there's Newton rings on these too. So CGC does not have monopoly on Newton rings. I don't know. Newton rings are nothing more than the effect of plastic against plastic. Okay, and if it's clear plastic on clear plastic, that kind of thing. So as you can see, if you kind of push on it, you can create more. Or if you kind of see how if I push them together to kind of separate them, see how they kind of go away. That's all that is. So it's a natural thing that happens when plastic meets plastic, kind of thing. Okay, so I don't get freaked out over it. People think that it ruins the book, that kind of stuff. It doesn't. Okay. It just doesn't. So as far as clarity is concerned, it is very clear. I'm looking at this, and I am very, very happy with the clarity of the case. So yeah, very nice. The last would probably be CBCS, as theirs is kind of smoky. There's a touch of smoke, in my opinion. It's not as clear as CGC, definitely. PGX is a little bit better than CBCS, so they're kind of like third. So if anything, I would definitely put this as second behind CGC. Now, how do I feel about these security? I don't have any problem with them right now. Regardless, just like some of the other slabs, as you can see, the book and the grade is sealed together inside the liner. As far as security goes, that is very good. It's actually thinner. It's thinner than CGC is really big. I find they're really heavy too. As far as the flimsiness, these things actually hold it pretty good. I would say they do have some, a little bit of movement, probably in and around CBCS, in my opinion. CGC, even the old ones, and PGX is probably the tougher of the, they're very stiff. And also what makes them very brittle. I have had cases kind of crack because they are so brittle, and they are so hard that they are actually quite susceptible to being chipped. Okay, so this one, it feels like it can take a little bit more bending and more abuse before it could actually chip. So, but I don't want to put that to a test. One last thing, I got these books specifically graded. These are not, I don't plan on selling these. This is not for investment purposes. This is not for, at least not in the short term anyways. These are, I want to present these because they're just beautiful. Look at these, right? And of course, that's with the signature. Comic books fade in the sunlight. Even if it's slab, they are not immune to fluorescent lights. Those are really bad as well for comic books, and over time they will fade. Okay, so that's not a good thing. But these cases have a UV protection. Do not expose these to direct sunlight, of course, right? You're just asking for problems. But if you put it in a room where a little bit of sunlight comes in, but not hitting these directly, they should be okay, as far as I know. Only time will tell, of course. So grading accuracy is susceptible to the person that's grading it. And you hear about the jokes all the time about, I got a bad grader this time because they graded my books like this, or I got lucky. Oh my God, he must have just he might have got lucky last night because he was very generous with my grades, right? We hear about those, we see those all the time with unboxing videos. So it is definitely up to the eye of the person that's grading them. The four companies do not talk to each other and tell each other what grades a book should be and what determines what grade. It's very unfair to compare the different companies as to who's a better grader. What I'm looking for is more consistency and transparency. And the only way to do that is right there. Grader's notes, detailed grading notes that accompany each book, and as far as I'm concerned, this gives an A+ to EGS. Okay, now, sorry, I would give it an A. Sorry, I'll backtrack that. An A. I'll give it an A+ when it goes on the label for free. How's that? Okay. As far as the COA is concerned, it's a nice touch. It says this certificate that Expert Grading Service LLC has issued, it's in fancy writing, sorry, it has issued this certificate to authenticate this copy of Back to the Future #1 on the date, whatever date that is, 4/16/2019, received the grade of 9.8, taking into effect the defects found. Okay, and there's 2 lines of that. Well, only 1 line here, but there's allowable for 2 lines. And then there's a service number. There's their stamp, official seal of the president, EGS. That's what that says right there. It's got that little warrior guy there. And then there's a service number. It's a very, very long number. There's no there's no barcode on these. Okay, so if you're expecting a barcode for any reason, I don't know why you would, but if you are, there isn't one. And then there, that's the name, Anthony Trombetta, President of Expert Grading Service. So that's the EGS certificate. As far as the label is concerned, it is very CGC-esque. okay, and PGC. Actually, except for CBCS, the three grading companies now, they look very similar. That's not bad. That's not a bad thing, because of course the grade is very easy to see. It's got a little hologram right there. Very easy to read. Very good font. And I don't know if I'm just getting older, okay, but that is a little small for me, the font on that, okay, there. And it says, see, if I'm not reading it through the camera, but because the camera is kind of making it bigger, it's magnifying it, it says 2 different covers exist, one by Amanda Connor, one by Adam Hughes. If I read that, just hold it to my eyes, I am having a hard time. So that is a little small. Okay, so that is probably one of my, that is a point against. Okay, I'll give that as a point against, because the writing on that is very small. I'd like to see a little bit bigger, writing on that, a bigger font. Okay, and then the back says pretty much. Oh, there is no grade on the back. It just has the name, and it says honesty, integrity, security, efficiency. Good taglines. All right. So final remarks. I do like them. I think the company is a very good company to deal with. They are new, of course. They're trying really hard, and I give them kudos for that. They should be trying hard to gain your business and my business, and I feel that they're doing that. And that's an honest, good way to gain market share. Customer service is really good. The website can still use some work. Okay, probably a B minus on the website. The slab itself is, I would say, an A. Okay, and the label, I would say probably like I would say a B plus. Okay, just because of the font, and the thing is really small, so that could get a little bit bigger in my opinion. Okay, for those of you who because that has information on it that's critical. That's information that's definitely needed. But as far as adding the COA, very nice touch. Oh, I do want to touch on the pricing. The pricing structure on this does not go by how much insurance you put on it, okay? Because if you do a fair market, as you know, if you submit books to the other ones, they ask you to declare a fair market value. They do the same, but it's only if you want to have extra insurance. If you do not want to declare extra insurance, that is up to you. You have the option to do that if you so wish. But regardless of what book they get, they don't charge you anything because it's a high value book. They only charge you for the service of grading and slabbing and then shipping it back, that kind of thing. Okay, so for that, A plus in my book. Okay, there is no reason to gouge the consumer because it's a high grade book. Okay, I don't need CGC, CBCS, or whatever to be profiting from my value. The process of slabbing, grading is the same for all books. There might be a little bit of difference in magazine sizes, that kind of stuff, and there should only be a very small charge, if any. Okay, in my opinion. That's why I think there's a lot of room left for this industry to kind of do good and to serve customers better. Okay, it's up to us to call it out. If you call out a spade a spade. Okay, and by doing so, hopefully they will take notice and do the right thing. That's my thoughts on that. But as far as overall, okay, on the company, I give them a very high grade. Okay, an A, probably all total an A or B plus, that kind of right around that grade as an overall company. And I would highly recommend them for especially for books such as this that you are not wanting to resell. Okay, because truth be told, CGC, as far as resale is concerned, is still king. CBCS is lagging a little bit behind CGC only because sellers are not holding out. If sellers would hold out and not expect a lower value for their slab books for the same grade, then hold out. Okay, expect the same value. If you do that, same with PGX, guys, you're lowering your expectation on what you get, and that's why you end up getting it. If you hold out and don't settle, what you will do is you eventually drive the price up, and the valuation for the slab books will even out to the point where I'm hoping it's maybe one day, my dream, don't lessen the value just because it's a different company, is what I'm trying to say. This is my review on these 3 books. Once again, JSA Classified number 1, 9.8 blue label. Okay, white pages. Everything's white pages because it's all new. And of course, Catwoman number 51, Adam Hughes cover, very awesome. Same with this one, Adam Hughes, probably my favorite cover. And then my Back to the Future number 1, signed by Christopher Lloyd. Awesome. All graded by EGS. And that's what they are. So guys, that's my review on them. I would highly recommend them. Try them out. Don't take my word for it. Always, as I do for myself, I don't. I watch people's videos and I see how they do, but ultimately make up your own mind by having first-hand experience. Okay, that's my best recommendation to you guys. That way, nobody can tell you any different as far as your own experience. That is the best teacher, and that's the best experience is your own. Okay, so with that in mind, I just want to thank you guys for sticking with me through this review. I know it's a long one, but I wanted to make sure that I gave EGS a fair shake and a fair review. And by doing so, make sure if you like this video, make sure you hit that like button, notification bell as well. That'll keep you posted on my new videos. And make sure you share. And if you haven't already done so, make sure you subscribe to my channel. I really appreciate it. Okay, and then of course, leave me your comments down below. Tell me what you think. Tell me if you've already used the service, what you think, how your experience was. I want to hear some of your thoughts on that. If you plan on doing it in the future, that kind of thing. If there's any information you guys need from me, if you have any questions, that kind of thing, I'd be more than happy to share with you my experience and my thoughts on things. But until then, guys, until the next video, I will see you on the next one. See you then. Bye-bye.